News of Sarah's extraordinary performance spread through the Madison Grand Hotel faster than anyone could have predicted. By the next morning, the story had reached the hotel's general manager, Elizabeth Morrison, who immediately requested security footage of the incident. What she saw on the recording left her speechless. Elizabeth had worked in hotel management for over 20 years, and she prided herself on knowing her employees. The revelation that one of her cleaning staff was an accomplished pianist challenged everything she thought she knew about talent recognition and employee development. More troubling was the clear evidence that the performance had been set up as some kind of prank within hours. Elizabeth called Marcus into her office for an uncomfortable conversation about workplace respect and employee treatment. The video evidence made it clear that Sarah had been targeted for humiliation, and Elizabeth was furious that such behavior was happening under her management. "This is completely unacceptable." "Marcus," Elizabeth said, her voice controlled but clearly angry. Regardless of what happened afterward, the intention here was cruel and unprofessional. "Sarah Williams has been a dedicated employee for 15 years, and she deserves better than to be treated as entertainment." Marcus shifted uncomfortably in his chair, realizing that his attempt at harmless fun had serious consequences. "I understand, Ms. Morrison. We never meant for it to be mean-spirited. We just thought—" "You thought it would be funny to embarrass a hard-working employee," Elizabeth interrupted. "Well, congratulations. Instead, you've embarrassed yourself in this hotel. Sarah's performance was remarkable. And the fact that we've been ignoring such talent for years reflects poorly on all of us." The conversation resulted in formal disciplinary action for Marcus and mandatory sensitivity training for all staff involved in the incident. But Elizabeth's response went beyond punishment. She was determined to address the larger issues that the evening had revealed about workplace culture and hidden employee potential. Elizabeth's first step was to meet with Sarah personally. She found the older woman in the ballroom during her usual evening shift, quietly cleaning around the piano as if nothing extraordinary had happened there just days before. "Sarah, could I speak with you for a moment?" Elizabeth asked gently. Sarah looked up nervously, expecting to be in trouble for the disruption her playing had caused. "Yes, ma'am." "Is there something wrong with my work?" "Quite the opposite," Elizabeth smiled. "I want to talk to you about your incredible performance the other night. I had no idea we had such a talented musician on our staff." Sarah's relief was visible, but she remained cautious. "I hope I wasn't doing anything wrong by playing the piano. They asked me to try it, and I just dot. "You weren't doing anything wrong at all," Elizabeth assured her. "In fact, I'd like to discuss some opportunities that might interest you. But first, I want to apologize for the way you were treated. What those employees did was unacceptable, and I've addressed it with them directly." The conversation that followed changed Sarah's life in ways she never could have anticipated. Elizabeth learned about Sarah's musical background, her grandmother's influence, and the decades of silence that had followed. In return, Sarah discovered that the hotel was planning a complete renovation of the ballroom, including the restoration of the piano. "I'd like to offer you a position as our evening pianist," Elizabeth said. "We host events almost every weekend, and many of our clients specifically request live music. Your ability to work with that damaged piano shows incredible skill. I can only imagine what you could do with a properly restored instrument." Sarah stared at Elizabeth in disbelief. "You want me to play piano for the hotel guests?" "I want you to share your gift with people who will appreciate it," Elizabeth replied. "You've been hiding a remarkable talent, and I think it's time the world got to hear it properly." The offer included a significant pay increase, reduced cleaning responsibilities, and professional piano lessons to help Sarah refine her skills after years away from formal training. Elizabeth also arranged for the hotel to hire a piano tuner who could work with Sarah to assess what repairs were needed for the ballroom instrument. Word of Sarah's new position spread quickly through the hotel, creating a mix of admiration and embarrassment among the staff who had witnessed the original incident. Jennifer was among the first to approach Sarah with a genuine apology. "I want you to know how sorry I am about Friday night," Jennifer said during one of Sarah's shifts. "We were completely wrong, and what you did was amazing. I've been thinking about it all week." Sarah accepted the apology gracefully, understanding that the incident had been a learning experience for everyone involved. "We all make mistakes," she said simply. "What matters is what we do next." The piano tuner's assessment revealed that the instrument was indeed worth restoring. Despite years of neglect, the Steinway's core structure remained sound. With proper repairs and regular maintenance, it could return to its original glory. The hotel committed to the restoration as part of their ballroom renovation project. Sarah's first official performance as the hotel's evening pianist was scheduled for a wedding reception 3 weeks later. Elizabeth arranged for the piano to receive emergency repairs for the stuck keys, making it playable even before the complete restoration was finished. The bride and groom, a young couple named David and Maria, had specifically requested live piano music for their reception. When they learned about Sarah's story, they were thrilled to be part of her professional debut. Maria, who was a music teacher herself, was particularly excited to hear Sarah play on the evening of the wedding reception. Sarah arrived early to practice on the newly tuned piano. The repairs had transformed the instrument's responsiveness, though several cosmetic issues remained. The keys moved smoothly under her fingers, and the sound was rich and full despite the piano's aged appearance. As guests began arriving for the reception, Sarah positioned herself at the piano and began playing soft jazz standards. The transformation from cleaning lady to pianist was remarkable to witness. Dressed in an elegant black dress that Elizabeth had helped her choose, Sarah looked confident and professional as her fingers moved gracefully across the keys. The wedding guests were immediately captivated by the music. Sarah's arrangements were sophisticated and emotional, perfectly complementing the romantic atmosphere of the celebration. She played requests throughout the evening, demonstrating an extensive repertoire that spanned classical, jazz, gospel, and popular music. During the reception dinner, David stood to make a toast that included acknowledgement of Sarah's performance. "We want to thank Sarah Williams, whose beautiful music has made our celebration even more special. We understand this is a new role for her, and we feel honored to be part of her musical journey." The applause that followed was warm and genuine. Sarah felt tears forming in her eyes as she realized how far she had come from the frightening moment when her coworkers had planned to humiliate her. The broken piano had become the instrument of her transformation, leading to opportunities she had never dared to imagine. In the months that followed, Sarah's reputation as a pianist grew steadily. Hotel guests frequently complimented her performances, and several clients specifically requested her services for future events. The piano restoration was completed beautifully, returning the Steinway to its original Ficence. Sarah also began taking advantage of the piano lessons Elizabeth had arranged. Working with a professional instructor helped her refine techniques she had developed intuitively and introduced her to new musical styles. The lessons were challenging but rewarding, proving that learning could continue at any age. The incident that had started as cruel entertainment became a catalyst for positive change throughout the hotel. Elizabeth implemented new policies regarding employee respect and talent recognition. Staff members were encouraged to share their skills and interests, leading to the discovery of other hidden talents within the workforce. Marcus, chastened by his role in the original incident, became one of Sarah's strongest supporters. He helped promote her performances and often stayed after his shifts to listen to her practice. The experience had taught him valuable lessons about dignity, respect, and the danger of making assumptions about people based on their job titles. A year after that fateful Friday evening, Sarah Williams had become an integral part of the Madison Grand Hotel's identity. Her story of transformation from invisible cleaning lady to celebrated pianist inspired both staff and guests. The beautiful music that now filled the ballroom every weekend served as a reminder that talent and dignity exist in unexpected places, waiting for the right moment to be revealed. The piano, fully restored to its former glory, stood as a symbol of second chances and hidden potential. Under Sarah's skilled touch, it produced music that touched hearts and changed perceptions. What had begun as an instrument of intended humiliation had become a source of beauty, respect, and opportunity. Sarah often reflected on how a single moment of cruelty had led to the most fulfilling period of her life. The broken piano had called to her for years, and when circumstances finally forced her to answer, it had given her back the music she thought she had lost forever. Her grandmother's lessons, dormant for decades, had emerged stronger than ever. The following Friday arrived with an autumn chill that seemed to seep through the hotel's grand windows. Sarah Williams approached her evening shift with unusual anxiety, knowing that her coworkers were planning something involving her and the broken piano. She had spent the week trying to prepare herself mentally for whatever humiliation they had devised. As she entered the ballroom with her cleaning supplies, Sarah immediately noticed the setup was different. Several employees were lingering near the entrance, pretending to finish various tasks while clearly waiting for something to happen. Marcus stood near the piano with Jennifer and 3 other staff members Sarah recognized but rarely spoke with. "Oh, perfect, Sarah's here," Marcus called out with exaggerated enthusiasm when he spotted her. "We were just talking about this old piano, and we were wondering if you might know anything about playing it." Sarah set down her cleaning cart carefully, her heart racing despite her efforts to remain calm. "I just clean around it, Mr. Marcus. I don't know nothing about playing pianos." The group exchanged glances that Sarah pretended not to notice. She could see someone had positioned a phone to record whatever was about to happen, confirming her suspicions about their intentions. The cruelty of the situation struck her again, but she maintained her composed exterior. "Come on, Sarah," Jennifer chimed in with false sweetness. "Everyone's got some hidden talents. Maybe you've always wanted to try playing a piano but never had the chance." The other employees nodded encouragingly, their expressions mixing artificial kindness with barely contained amusement. Sarah recognized the setup immediately. They expected her to sit down at the broken instrument, struggle with the damaged keys, and provide them with entertainment at her expense. "I really should get started on my cleaning," Sarah replied quietly. "There's a lot of work to do tonight." But Marcus wasn't ready to let his plan fail. "Actually, Sarah, we were thinking this might be a good way to test whether the piano is worth fixing. If someone could just try playing it for a minute, we could better assess what needs to be done." Sarah looked at the faces surrounding her, each wearing expressions of mock sincerity while hiding their true intentions. She had 2 choices: refuse and potentially face workplace consequences, or submit to their entertainment and endure the humiliation they had planned. "I suppose I could try," Sarah said finally. Her voice barely above a whisper, the group moved closer as Sarah approached the piano bench. She could feel their anticipation as she sat down and positioned her hands above the yellowed keys. The instrument looked even more damaged up close, with several keys visibly stuck in the down position and others missing their white covering entirely. Sarah's fingers touched the keys gently, testing their response. As expected, several produced no sound while others stuck frustratingly. She could hear soft snickers from behind her as the broken notes confirmed what everyone already knew about the piano's condition, but then something unexpected happened. Sarah's hands found the keys that still worked, and she began to navigate around the damaged ones with surprising skill. Instead of the chaotic noise they expected, a beautiful melody began to emerge from the broken instrument. The snickering stopped. Abruptly, Sarah's fingers moved with confidence across the keyboard, finding ways to work around every damaged key. She was playing Amazing Grace, but her arrangement was unlike anything the hotel employees had ever heard. Her left hand provided a rich bass line using only the working lower keys, while her right hand wove intricate melodic variations that avoided the broken notes entirely. The transformation was stunning. The damaged piano, which had been nothing more than expensive furniture for years, suddenly filled the ballroom with music that was both powerful and achingly beautiful. Sarah's arrangement acknowledged the instrument's limitations. While revealing its hidden potential. Marcus stood frozen with his mouth slightly open. His phone still recording, but for entirely different reasons now. Jennifer's expression had shifted from smug anticipation to genuine amazement. The other employees moved closer, drawn by music that seemed impossible given the piano's condition. Sarah's playing grew more confident as she warmed to the instrument. She transitioned seamlessly from Amazing Grace into When the Saints Go Marching In, her arrangement showcasing a deep understanding of both classical technique and gospel tradition. Every note was precisely placed, working around the damaged keys like a master craftsman working with flawed materials. The employees who had come to witness her humiliation now found themselves experiencing something entirely different. Sarah's music filled the ornate ballroom with an emotional depth that made their cruel intentions feel petty and small. The beauty emerging from the broken piano served as an unexpected metaphor for the dignity that Sarah had maintained despite years of being overlooked and underestimated. As Sarah played, memories flooded back from her childhood in Mississippi. She remembered her grandmother's patient hands guiding her through hymns in the little church. She recalled hours spent practicing on the old upright piano, learning to make music despite missing keys and broken hammers. Those early lessons had taught her that music existed in the spaces between the broken notes. In the ability to find beauty despite imperfection, the ballroom's acoustics enhanced every note, creating a richness that surprised even Sarah. She had forgotten how good it felt to make music, to translate emotion into sound and share it with others. The 15 years of silence melted away as her fingers rediscovered their purpose. Sarah transitioned into a slower, more contemplative piece, something she improvised on the spot. The melody spoke of longing and resilience, of dreams deferred but not forgotten. Her left hand maintained a steady rhythm while her right hand explored harmonies that seemed to emerge from the piano itself. The small audience remained completely silent, no longer seeing the joke they had planned but witnessing something profound and unexpected. Marcus lowered his phone, realizing that whatever he had captured was far more significant than the prank video he had intended to make. Jennifer felt tears forming in her eyes as she listened to music that seemed to tell a story she had never heard before. The cleaning lady she had barely acknowledged for years was revealing depths of talent and experience that challenged every assumption Jennifer had made about her. Other hotel employees began arriving, drawn by the sound of piano music where none should exist. Word spread quickly through the building that someone was actually playing the broken piano and playing it beautifully. Kitchen staff, housekeeping supervisors, and even some guests staying in nearby rooms came to investigate. Sarah was aware of the growing audience but remained focused on her connection with the instrument. Each broken key she navigated around became part of her arrangement. Each limitation transformed into a unique musical statement. She was having a conversation with the piano, and it was responding with warmth and cooperation. The impromptu concert continued for nearly 20 minutes. Sarah played hymns from her childhood, classical pieces she remembered from old recordings, and original improvisations that seemed to flow directly from her heart to her fingertips. The damaged piano proved capable of remarkable expression under her skilled touch. Sarah brought her performance to a gentle conclusion. The silence that followed was profound. The group of employees who had gathered to mock her stood speechless, processing what they had just witnessed. The janitor they had dismissed as part of the hotel's background had revealed herself to be an accomplished musician, whose skill far exceeded anything they might have imagined. Sarah sat quietly for a moment, her hands resting on the keys as she absorbed the magnitude of what had just happened. She had not played piano in public for decades, and certainly never under circumstances like these. The experience felt both terrifying and liberating. Marcus was the first to find his voice. "Sarah?" he said softly, his earlier smugness completely gone. We had no idea you could. Where did you learn to play like that?" Sarah turned on the bench to face the group, her expression calm despite the emotional intensity of her performance. "My grandmother taught me when I was little," she said simply. "Been a long time since I played for anybody." The cruel prank had backfired in the most beautiful way possible. Instead of humiliating Sarah, the evening had revealed her extraordinary talent and exposed the prejudices of those who had underestimated her. The broken piano had become an instrument of revelation, transforming a moment of intended cruelty into something transcendent. The old Steinway grand piano sat in the corner of the hotel's elegant ballroom like a wounded giant. Its once pristine black surface was now dulled with age, and several keys stuck when pressed. The Madison Grand Hotel had seen better days, but it still hosted corporate events and wedding receptions for those who appreciated its vintage charm. Most guests barely noticed the piano anymore, treating it as nothing more than expensive furniture. Sarah Williams pushed her cleaning cart through the ballroom's ornate doors every Tuesday and Friday evening. At 62, she had been cleaning these same floors for nearly 15 years. Her dark hands, weathered from decades of hard work, moved efficiently as she dusted tables and swept beneath chairs. The hotel staff knew her as the quiet woman who arrived after most events ended, working through the night to restore the venue's elegance. Sarah had learned long ago to make herself invisible. She moved through the hotel like a shadow, completing her tasks while the remaining staff finished their shifts. The younger employees rarely acknowledged her presence, and management treated her with the distant politeness reserved for service workers. She preferred it this way. Less attention meant fewer problems, and at her age, Sarah valued the steady paycheck more than workplace friendships. The damaged piano held secrets that only Sarah knew. During her quiet hours alone in the ballroom, she would sometimes pause her cleaning to run her fingers along its keys. The instrument called to her in ways she couldn't explain to anyone who might ask. Not that anyone ever would. To them, she was just the cleaning lady who emptied trash bins and mopped floors. Growing up in rural Mississippi, Sarah had discovered music in her grandmother's tiny church. The old upright piano there was missing several keys, but young Sarah had learned to work around its limitations. Her grandmother, who served as the church pianist, had taught her the basics during stolen moments between Sunday services. But when Sarah's grandmother passed away, so did her musical education. Life had other plans for a young black woman in the 1960s South. Sarah had moved north after high school, seeking opportunities that didn't exist in her hometown. She found work in factories, restaurants, and eventually settled into cleaning jobs. Music became a memory she tucked away, something that belonged to a different version of herself. The years passed quickly, filled with raising children as a single mother and working multiple jobs to make ends meet. The Madison Grand Hotel hired Sarah during a difficult period in her life. Her youngest child had just left for college, and the empty nest felt overwhelming. The hotel work was steady and solitary, exactly what she needed. She found comfort in the routine and took pride in maintaining the elegant spaces that hosted other people's celebrations. The ballroom's piano became Sarah's silent companion during those long night shifts. She would dust its surface carefully, sometimes humming old hymns while she worked. The instrument seemed to recognize her touch, responding with soft sounds when she accidentally pressed keys while cleaning around it. These moments felt like conversations with an old friend. One particular Friday evening in late October, Sarah arrived to find the ballroom in unusual disarray. The hotel had hosted a corporate retreat that afternoon, and the participants had clearly enjoyed themselves. Empty glasses and crumpled napkins covered every surface. Chairs were scattered randomly, and someone had spilled red wine on the white tablecloth near the piano. As Sarah began her cleaning routine, she noticed something different about the piano. Someone had opened its lid, exposing the strings and hammers inside. A handwritten sign taped to the music stand read, "Out of order, do not play." The sight made Sarah pause. She had always wondered what the piano might sound like if someone actually played it properly. The corporate group had apparently discovered the piano's poor condition during their event. Sarah could imagine their disappointment when they realized the elegant instrument couldn't provide the musical backdrop they had hoped for. She carefully cleaned around the open piano, being extra gentle with its exposed interior while organizing the scattered chairs. Sarah overheard two hotel employees talking near the ballroom entrance. Marcus, the evening shift manager, was speaking with Jennifer, one of the catering staff members who had worked a corporate event earlier. "The clients were pretty upset about the piano," Jennifer was saying. They had specifically requested live music, and when their pianist tried to play it, half the keys wouldn't work properly. It was embarrassing. Marcus shook his head in frustration. I keep telling management we need to either fix that thing or get rid of it. It's becoming a liability. Clients expect a working piano when they see one in the ballroom. What are we supposed to do until then? Jennifer asked. We have another event next week, and they're specifically planning to use the piano for their program. Sarah continued her work, pretending not to listen while the two employees discussed their dilemma. She understood their frustration. The hotel charged premium prices for events, and clients had every right to expect the amenities they paid for. But she also felt a strange protectiveness toward the damaged instrument. After Marcus and Jennifer left, Sarah found herself alone with the piano again. She approached it slowly, examining the keys that had caused so much trouble. Some stuck halfway down when pressed, while others produced no sound at all. The instrument clearly needed professional attention, but beneath its problems, Sarah sensed something special waiting to be discovered. The following Tuesday brought an unexpected development. Sarah arrived for her shift to find the ballroom buzzing with activity despite the late hour. A group of hotel employees had gathered around the piano, and their voices carried a mixture of amusement and mischief. Sarah kept her distance, focusing on cleaning the far side of the room while listening to their conversation. I'm telling you, it would be hilarious, Marcus was saying to the group. We could film it and everything. Imagine the look on her face when she tries to play that broken thing. Sarah's stomach tightened as she realized they were talking about someone being asked to play the damaged piano. The cruel entertainment they were planning made her uncomfortable, but she had learned long ago not to interfere in situations that didn't directly involve her. Who are we going to get to do it? Asked Jennifer. It needs to be someone who won't suspect what we're up to. The group continued planning their prank while Sarah worked quietly in the background. She felt increasingly uneasy about their scheme, but her position as a cleaning employee left her with little influence over the situation. She could only hope they would reconsider their plan or choose a target who could handle their joke with grace. As the group dispersed, Sarah overheard Marcus mention something that made her blood run cold. The cleaning lady who works in here might be perfect, he said to one of his colleagues. She's always so quiet and serious. It might be fun to see her reaction. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she continued dusting, realizing she had become the target of their cruel entertainment. The thought of being humiliated in front of a group of younger employees filled her with dread. She had spent 15 years maintaining her dignity through hard work and professionalism. The idea of becoming their joke felt like a violation of everything she had built. That night, Sarah left work with a heavy heart. She had always known that some of the hotel staff viewed her as nothing more than part of the furniture, but she hadn't realized how little regard they had for her feelings. The upcoming prank weighed on her mind as she tried to sleep, wondering how she could avoid the humiliation without losing her job. The damaged piano had become more than just a cleaning obstacle. It represented the intersection of her hidden past and uncertain future. As she lay in bed that night, Sarah found herself thinking about her grandmother's weathered hands guiding her across piano keys decades ago. Those memories seemed both distant and achingly present as she prepared to face whatever cruel entertainment her coworkers had planned.